This is the story of the 21st century rebirth of a disused church in Bolton, Lancashire. And how, over 10 years, one volunteer gave 5,000 hours of his time to turn his dream of a vibrant community meeting space into a glorious reality. Bolton, a historic mill town founded on the cotton industry of the 19th century, is home to All Souls Church, which has stood derelict for over 25 years. All Souls is situated in the area of Crompton, an economically deprived neighbourhood which, since the immigration of the 1960s, has been an ethnically mixed community.
In a year's time, 1 year, you'll be going in there, running in.
My name's Inayat Omarji. I've been born and bred within this community. Smelt the bread for Warburtons, smelt the chapatis in the home as well. This community served the cotton industry. Terraced houses were built for the workers in the mills. A lot of migration happened. You know, my father came from India to work in the cotton mills, so it's a very diverse community and a growing community. Unemployment in this day and age, up and down the country, is quite high, and Bolton's no different.
Inayat used to pass All Souls regularly on his way to work, and in 2004 he became concerned that the church was being vandalised.
I contacted the church's Conservation Trust and was discussing how to clean up the graffiti at the back of the church, the fires that young people were starting because they were hanging around, and it was at that point that a couple of the officers from the church's Conservation Trust and the chief executive visited me in Bolton. They came hand in hand with the key of the church. That was the first time I walked in the church and I said, wow, you know, what a fantastic building. You know, why is it not being used? You know, what can we do with it?
The Grade 2 star-listed All Souls was designed by Victorian architects Paley and Austin in 1881. It was paid for by the Greenhouse brothers, who owned a local cotton mill. The mill workers all lived in the same 2-up, 2-down terraces, working 6 days a week, and Sundays were spent in church. The church didn't just cater for people's spiritual needs, it was a social centre as well, with the choir, Sunday school, youth groups, and the big events in people's lives all taking place in this majestic building. But by 1986, the cotton industry had declined. The church had become little used, and eventually had to close.
All Souls is a very interesting church because, of course, it's a Christian building in a community that's almost completely changed in terms of its faith, largely Muslim, I think 80%, and yet the local community have huge interest in the building and its history and the faith history of it. I think some people said, oh, well, you know, they won't want to see any Christian stuff around. Well, that's not true at all. I think the community is really interested in what this building meant to past generations, some of whom are still here and are very keen to see it reopen, as well as seeing a future use for it.
Actually living in this community and seeing that there's nothing around, and the inspiration was, can we get something in this community that'll actually create aspirations, create innovation, and raise the profile of the community.
The potential offered by the old church inspired Inayat to volunteer as a member of the All Souls Regeneration project, working hand in hand with the church's Conservation Trust.
The Church's Conservation Trust is a charity which looks after 345 beautiful historic churches all over England. These are important buildings, important architecturally and historically, but also because they are part of our social history and our shared existence. So for all those reasons, it's really important that we protect these buildings and keep them open to the public. We want to demonstrate that these buildings have a relevance in modern 21st century society and they can be adapted in a way that is sympathetic to their original use and their design, but also which provides the facilities and services that a modern community needs.
My first impressions, and I don't know if people have come in today, and it was, wow, you know.
In 2007, the church's Conservation Trust began working closely with Inayat and the local community to decide how best to transform the church.
What will happen in this beautiful building is a community centre meeting venue for the whole community. Muslim, Christian, people with no religion. It's going to be a building for all souls.
2009. After a further 2 years of fundraising and campaigning to get the project off the ground, today All Souls and the Church's Conservation Trust are hosting an open day to consult the community on their ideas. For the first time in 25 years, there'll be a public event inside this historic building.
The church is a big space here, and you know, I'm no historian, but as you can see, there's no pillars in between, and I think this is one of the significant features of this church. And it's just absolutely fantastic, you know, the little bits of stained glass windows and everything is just absolutely amazing. We sent out 8,000 newsletters. That was to inform the community what exactly we were trying to do, to get people in and get the whole feel of what the church would look like when it's done. The only thing we will do here is take the pews out and nothing else.
Well, we came here in 1973. It was my first parish as a vicar. We'd been here, just over 12 months when Rachel was born. It was just over 10 years after we left that sadly it had to close. But I was so delighted that it was going to come alive again, because when we were here, those 5 years, it was alive.
One of the themes that we're looking at is to collate the history about this church, about the community, trying to capture that.
So, for example,
Rose Queen.
Yeah, that was the last ever Rose Queen of All Souls before it closed. They used to pick a girl to march in a parade around the different churches, and then the little Rose Queens at the back used to follow her on the procession.
Can you see that? Can you see that church where we are right now? It's all changed. Can you see this whole wall? Our house used to be like that at one time.
A few years back, I did a project, it was with the council, about how people came in this country, how they found it basically. Was it difficult, how they found the jobs, and what I tend to find out was that the English people, in the mills, they were very friendly. They went out of their way to help the Asian people. Yeah. Honestly, they couldn't. This project they're going to start here is still going to keep the building and everything, Yeah. So maybe we'll get that spirit come back again.
Our ambitions for All Souls as a community space are very high. In the 21st century, we'd have seen the decline of the high street. Shops are closing, and where do people go anymore to mix? It's difficult to find those spaces, and what we want All Souls to be is a genuine centre for all different communities of all faiths and none, for all souls to come and mix together. And we're going to have a space that is genuinely for a multicultural community.
Approximately over 400 people who's walked through this door, which is absolutely fantastic. We've had people who've come and said, I got married here, and we've had young people and other communities who've never been in here. And that was the whole aim of today, was to open it up, but also to showcase what our plans are.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, good idea as well. It'll be really successful, hopefully.
We know that it's been derelict for some time. It's been disused. It's been a bit of an eyesore. It's a good building. It's nice to see that it's coming back to life and people will be able to use it in the community.
The local community is on board, but it takes a further 18 months for Inayat and the Church's Conservation Trust to find additional funders and partners to support this ambitious project. There have been setbacks along the way, but finally they've got the backing they need to put the plan into action.
Partnership is key. No one organisation or group could do this on their own. Key partners, the community, absolutely first and foremost. Without them and their vision, this would be going absolutely nowhere. With them is the local authority, again, absolutely knitted in there. Bolton Council, absolutely vital. There have also been some trust funders along the way. The Tudor Trust, for example, have put money in. Heritage Lottery Fund put in millions of pounds of support. Without that and without their guidance, the partnership wouldn't work.
The project has just been driven by the passion of the local community group and the Church's Conservation Trust. And every time they hit an obstacle, they came back and said, we're going to tackle this, but we might need some help. And that's the sort of project we love, a project that's driven by passion, involves the local community, and really, really gives us a future for a building which is so important in this area of Bolton.
Well, there's 14,000 listed churches in Britain. There's 342 that are in the care of the Church's Conservation Trust, and they can't all be either for worship or for tourism, so some of them have to be put back to use for the communities that live around them.
The scheme is the most innovative project in the 46-year history of the Church's Conservation Trust. It's a huge undertaking, and the Trust has set up a special regeneration task force to deliver the vision. A firm of architects has now been appointed.
We came up with the idea of putting into the space 2 new buildings which sit at either side of the central aisle. You'd still get this clear, unobstructed view down the middle of the church. And there'd be these 2 modern, very contrasting buildings either side of it. What's really important to me with this project is that it realises the vision, not just the architectural vision, but the vision as a community building.
The old church will contain 2 high-spec pod-like structures, housing community, heritage, meeting and workspaces.
It'll be the traditional community centre, but it will also be a place for people to learn about industrial and Victorian heritage and ecclesiastical heritage. It will be a place for business, and so there will be small businesses hopefully starting up in there to attract money and investment.
On either side of the aisle there'll be 2 new buildings, one of which on this side is going to be 3 stories high.
This is quite unique, having a building within an existing outside structure. We're quite looking forward to when it's finished.
It's 2011 and the funding's finally in place. But before building work can begin, architect Nick Berry and historic buildings consultant Alan Gardner must undertake an assessment of the church to evaluate how much repair work needs doing.
We're here at Bolton All Souls on a very wet and windy day to have a look at the roof structure. We have a roof structure that is a combination of timber and metal. Today, what I've got to do is I've got to get up there and have a look in the little nooks and crannies that are in the roof so that when we send this out to price for builders, we've been able to describe what the problems are. This is the romantic and glamorous bit of what I do, Bolton in the rain in the winter. I'm going to crawl into the roof access hatch to get along the roof space to see if I can have a good look at what condition the roof timbers are in. Okay, wonderfully dark. As you'd expect, there's the dust of a good over 100 years. And I can see holes through the ceiling, which is always a little bit unnerving when you're in a dark space and crawling along. All the metal plates on these timbers, there's quite a lot of rust on them, but not too bad. Luckily, the timber itself isn't rotting, because largely it's clear of the wet masonry. Everything's looking really in remarkably good condition. That's a pleasant surprise.
It's not just the roof that Alan needs to take a look at. Nick's design includes running service pipes under the floor of the church, containing cabling for electricity, heating and the internet. It's Alan's job to check whether there's a clear throughway under the floor.
OK, so what exactly is it you're hoping I'm going to find?
Well, hopefully there's a piece of wall between the 2 large columns of the church which we can cut a hole in to get all our services from the floor void into the plant room.
Oh no, loads of evidence of rats. Oh God. Ugh. I hate rats. I've got a feeling, whilst there's nothing wrong structurally, it's not what we wanted in terms of services voids, unfortunately. As we look over there, we have the 2 columns and it's solid between it. There's no gap at all. Right. So what we have here is some images. That.
So that is that end wall.
That's that end wall.
We think there's probably about a metre of solid wall that we'll need to excavate through to get from the plant room into the under the floor void.
So, drilling through the 1 metre wall is added to the to-do list. September 2013. Specialist builders and craftsmen have all been contracted, and now the whole team's assembled for the groundbreaking ceremony, led by the chair of the Church's Conservation Trust, Lloyd Grossman.
This building is a great example of how a heritage building can make a major contribution to the skills agenda, to helping young people get a better future, and also putting money into the local economy. This is the 2nd largest single investment the Church's Conservation Trust itself has made. We put nearly £500,000 into this. And we believe that this building is going to make a permanent contribution to the well-being of this community.
It's a fantastic idea. It was a building that was derelict for a very, very long time, and we're happy it's being brought back into community use.
All Souls will be a vibrant place to be, opportunities for exploring architecture, heritage, and inspiring creativity.
The building has the power to unify all sorts of different communities. And when we look at this project, we see people from all sorts of beliefs, all sorts of national backgrounds, coming together to create something really fabulous that's going to benefit this community and this country well into the future.
January 2014, and the conservation and repairs are well underway. The building's due to be completed in September, but there's still an awful lot to do.
Repair works here include a complete re-roofing, brick and stonework repair, complete re-leading of all the plain glazed windows, and some plaster repairs, redecoration, and some cleaning of ceiling and internal timbers. So this is brown rot, or what everybody calls dry rot. This is the kind of decay which everybody is going to end up repairing.
Yeah.
I think the most challenging aspect of the project has been to get the right skills on the job, because this has been a very new thing to do. It's a new way of thinking about these buildings. So to find the right architects, to find the right project team to run and manage the project, they've been fairly crucial learning for us.
Another important aspect of the regeneration of All Souls is the provision of specialist training for local people in historic building skills.
So we have 6 bursary placements. We have 3 who are involved in the masonry side, 2 who are doing carpentry roofing, and 1 who is doing glazing.
Right. Well, you know what I said to you? This is your chance now, it's up to you.
I was looking for people, not that had any experience, but you could see they wanted this and they needed this because this was their chance.
After I left college, I found it quite difficult to come across a job, and then I seen this ad in the paper for stonemasonry. I thought I might as well give it a shot, and a week later I got the interview.
All the ones marked X, those are the only ones you're taking out, nothing else. Anything else you need to take out, you come and see me.
I've enjoyed my time here as well. Hopefully I get kept on and knock a few more brick out, you know, part of the team.
You're outside, you're always moving about, you're always doing different stuff every day, you're always learning new things. That at least I can start working towards a career now. I'm working within the construction industry. I'm working on how to build it.
The best legacy of this job is that in 20 years' time, there's somebody with a van parked out in this street somewhere that says stonemason. And he got that, he became a stonemason because he worked on this project.
April 2014. It's not only the church that's under construction. The project team are working with the local community to develop a history wall that will be housed inside the building, and some new team members have been appointed.
I'm Amy Llewellyn, I'm the Community Project Officer. What my role is really is to try and engage as many different members of the public from all over Bolton and beyond in this project. We're going to have a history wall all along the north wall, which will be images from Bolton's history.
So we're asking people to come forward that have memories of the church or memories of the area and just share those stories with us. People have written in, people have brought things like photographs and postcards and telegrams, and we've got some really interesting original material.
Jean Rigby has contributed some of her memories and photos of All Souls. She was picked to be a Rose Queen when she was 12 years old, and later married husband Colin at the church.
Rose Queen was a huge activity at All Souls. You open up bazaars, any events that's on at church, you had to have a long dress and a train. The train was always made out of velvet. The lady who'd made my Rose Queen dress also made my wedding dress.
You see the diamond, and then the rest was all tiered with lace, 3 tiers of lace. It's so pretty. The fact I can actually touch this every now and again and remember a happy day was lovely.
Lots of other members of the local community have also contributed photos and memories for the Heritage Wall.
I came to England in 1964. Then the very next day I started a job in factory, cotton factory, just around the corner here. We are not going in the church, you see, but we're just passing every day. Then in the morning, bell was ringing. Sunday bell was ringing.
The vicar used to live in number 2 Main Street. One day he came and he said, "I'm sorry, we have to move from here, and the church is going to close down now." Yeah, and he was very sad. I can still remember his face.
The mementos of these local people will take pride of place in the new All Souls Centre. However, inside the building itself, things aren't quite going to plan.
The most difficult thing with this project really on site has been the logistics. We've got the superstructure erected now, the main form of the pods is all there, we can see the shapes and everything, but what isn't there is all the lovely high quality finishes that are going to be applied to the pods, which will make them look like they do in some of the visualisations that we've done. There's very little time to do it, so anything that doesn't go exactly as planned at the moment is going to have a visible effect on the final product.
It's June 2014. 9 months into the construction schedule, and logistical problems have resulted in a delay of 3 months. The grand opening's now set for December, and everyone's pulling together to get the job done. Today, Crispin Truman, the chief executive of the church's Conservation Trust, is on site to inspect the progress.
Well, I think I can't deny that the best bit is when you put the hard hat on and you go up in the scaffolding and you see the masons working away at the stonework, and then when the scaffolding comes off and it's all looking beautiful, perfect for another 100 years, that is a fantastic feeling. It's all really begins to take shape.
Locally, a buzz of excitement is developing about the revitalised All Souls. Community Officer Amy Llewellyn has been working with artist Joy Kilpatrick to engage schoolchildren in making artworks that will be put on display inside the building.
One of the projects that was set as part of our funding was to make banners, or to remake banners for the church. Banners being quite a traditional part of churches. They were walked into churches. They had a Sunday school had one, the main school had one.
We're doing three banners that represent the stained glass windows in the church, and they've come up with the ideas about unity and stuff like that. But each one's really different. This one's got hands, there's one over there, look, that's got faces, and the one over there, they've decided to do 3 tones of colour representing the different skin tones of the community and the different, you know, sort of groups of people and everything.
Is this cotton?
This is pure cotton, which is the cotton industry in Bolton, and then the actual batik comes from the east. So we just thought it really blended all the cultures together.
I feel excited and happy because one of my pictures will be hung in All Souls Church.
We will show our paintings in All Souls Church. They will say, "This is good," and we'll say, "This was ours."
We've got the weaving going on there, which, as you know, represents the weaving in the industries around here.
What I liked as well about each piece of fabric in the weaving comes from someone and has a story. The whole process of making these banners has captured really what we want the church to represent, which is community coming together, community contributing, and just enjoying being together and creating something.
Even when Amy's taking time out for exercise, she's spreading the word about All Souls, and her enthusiasm is infectious.
Yeah, the All Souls project is obviously, I will go past it every day, and I think they're doing a really good job of it, which is really fast progress of it as well. So thumbs up for that.
All Souls is a good thing that is happening, especially for the community.
For Asian women, they'll be more like interactive with other people, get together and everything. So definitely, I think it's a good go. Yeah, needed this.
December 2014. It's been 10 long years in the making, but today All Souls is to open once more, and the bells are ringing out across the town of Bolton. Volunteer Inayat Omarji's dream of a vibrant community space is at last a glorious reality.
I stood here this morning and I said, is this for real? You know, it only seems like yesterday that I started that journey, but it has been actually 10 years. And this humongous building, gigantic building, stands out and towers over this community. It's absolutely fantastic.
Inside the pods on the upper floors are office spaces, a media suite and a conference room. Downstairs, there's a community cafe.
So this is a coffee shop. I think all communities, when it comes to food, is going to be important to everybody. Hopefully their offer that these guys are going to be delivering will be fantastic.
As well as a place for business and enterprise, All Souls will be a hub for heritage learning, with a history wall of community photos, memories and artefacts.
I think the finished building is absolutely breathtaking. Really, just the vision is now a reality and people can see what we've all been talking about for so long.
Also on display are the banners created by local children, with the help of artist Joy Kilpatrick.
It's weaving that the public have done, but actually the threads that are in it are actually the history in themselves. We've got 1960s garments, we've got saris, we've got curtains from grandmother, we've got lace out of Nana's sewing box. It's absolutely history itself, just the threads. But we decided to do the weaving because ultimately that's what Bolton's all about. It says there, Bolton, built on woven threads.
We're going to literally fling our doors open. The talk has been there. We've been in the media yesterday, so there's a lot of frenzy out there. My phone's not stopped buzzing, and literally people are wanting to really have a look at what's been going inside this building.
Hello again. Hi. Nice to see you again. Congratulations. Thank you very much. What do you think? Oh, it's very good.
Welcome to All Souls Bolton, the realisation of a dream. And to tell you all about that, our first speaker is our chairman of the Church's Conservation Trust, Lloyd Grossman. Lloyd.
Thank you. The last time I was here, I was wearing a hard hat and steel-toed boots, and I was holding a shovel. And the people who I was with said they could tell I'd never held a shovel before. Today, when I walked through the door, I said, wow, because I could not believe how beautiful and stunning the transformation is in this church. Because what we've done here is to see how you can really take a historic building, give it new life, and bring it back to where it should be as the heart of a community.
Not only is there a new future for All Souls, young masonry trainees Adam Marler and Jake Quinton have now been taken on as full-time apprentices.
I remember standing on the scaffold right at the top and looking down, it was just a big hole. And then look where it's come today.
The result is astonishing, really. It is nice. I mean, now with all the lights as well, you can see all the detail.
Finally, thanks to Inayat, in order to make this dream the reality that we're in now, Inayat volunteered over 5,000 hours of work to make this project.
No, absolutely.
I never thought I'd be part of one of the most exciting design projects in the country. It just feels brilliant to be part of this fantastic story.
You can see the built, completed product, and it's a beautiful church in an area that really needs something beautiful, and it's going to be loved by the community, and that's so satisfying. I feel great about it.
It's just so lovely to come into the church and be able still to see right through, to see the sense of space, but also to see that this is a place that's going to be used. And I think this is just going to be a great space for the community, and you can feel it already.
Wow, it really is. It's almost unbelievable what it was, and the state we saw it 5 years ago and what it's become now, you know. It's lovely to see it and hear all these voices and the fact that it's alive again.
For the community, I think it's a great thing. We've needed this for a long, long time, like a central hub. One thing I'm really happy about is still got a bit of history to it. The designing on the windows, there's still a symbol of what it was about back in the 1800s.
Best thing about it for me is it's going to be used again. And looking at the people in the building now, I think it will cover the multicultural aspects of this area, which is really important.
I just think it's an amazing place, and it's going to be wonderful for the community. I actually feel quite emotional about it, especially when I heard the bells this morning outside, and I can't say because I feel a lump in my throat.
I think it's fantastic, really. It's the also name in itself suggests it's not for the one community, it's for all the communities. I don't have words to describe that how happy I am and how chuffed I am, really. Yes.
The All Souls Regeneration project is a wonderful example of how a modern 21st century community space can be created within a heritage building. With over 200 of England's listed inner-city churches at risk, the hope is that All Souls will become a national model for saving them and putting them back at the heart of communities.